Hi, my name is Kieren and today we will be making cheese ravioli with pesto. Before we get started, be sure to have your hair pulled back, your sleeves rolled up, and sing happy birthday twice while washing your hands to ensure that they're properly cleaned. To stay organized, I have my mise en place ready with flour, salt, water, and eggs. Mise en place is a French culinary term meaning putting in place, so all my ingredients are ready to go. The first step is to measure out our flour. This recipe calls for 1.5 cups, so you can begin by measuring out 1 cup. And to make your measurements as exact as possible, you can use the back of a knife to level it off. And then you'll do the same thing with a 1/2 cup. Next, we're going to measure out 3 tablespoons of water. Now that my ingredients have been measured out, I added half of the flour, half the salt, and 1 of the eggs to the food processor to mix. After mixing the ingredients and adding about a tablespoon of water, you can now see that it's a doughy consistency and you're ready to move on to the next step. Now that the mixture is complete, I'm going to knead the dough on a lightly floured surface for about 1 minute. When you're done kneading the dough, you can place it in a plastic bag and let it sit for about 30 minutes. During this time, you can wash your dishes. It's been about 30 minutes since our dough has been sitting, and it's time to pull it out and divide it into 4 pieces. On a lightly floured surface, you will divide each of the 4 balls of dough into a 12-inch square. Once you've stretched out the dough, you can square off the edges and cut them into 2-inch wide strips. Then once you have your strips, you repeat the same process with the rest of the dough. To make the filling, in this bowl I have 1 cup ricotta cheese, 3/4 cup goat cheese, and 1 tablespoon chopped mint. This bowl has 1 egg and 1 tablespoon of water. And this has 1 teaspoon salt and 1/2 teaspoon black pepper. And I will add chopped parsley into the mixture as well. Once I have my cutting board stationed on a damp towel, I can begin chopping the parsley. Now that the parsley is chopped, I can mix all the ingredients together for the filling. Now I'm ready to add the filling to the strips of pasta dough. So first I'm going to take some of the egg and water mixture and brush it along the dough. Now that I've brushed the strips with the egg mixture, I can add the filling. I'm going to add about teaspoon for each ravioli. And when you do this, you want to keep it about 1 inch apart from each pile. Finish filling the last strips of dough. I've started boiling some water in a pot. Shaping the ravioli, you want to make sure you have the edges of the dough on top pressed down, and you're going to use a fork to put the lines in and close it. The water begins to boil, you can then add your ravioli into the water. It'll take about 5 to 7 minutes for them to cook, and you'll know when they're done when they start to float to the top. Step is to make our pesto. In this large bowl, I have 1 1/3 cups fresh spinach, 2/3 cup fresh basil leaves, ½ teaspoon of salt, and 1/4 teaspoon crushed red pepper. In this smaller bowl, I have 2 tablespoons chicken broth, 2 tablespoons olive oil, and 1 tablespoon fresh lemon juice. I'll be peeling the garlic cloves and dicing the tomatoes, and then adding the Parmesan cheese, and I have 1/3 cup pine nuts, which I'll be toasting. The first thing I'm going to do is peel the garlic, and to do this, press the knife against it and just hit it. To dice a tomato, you want to make sure you get this part off. And then dicing is cutting the pieces into equal size so that it cooks evenly. Next, you're going to add the first mixture with the spinach, basil, salt, and crushed red pepper with garlic cloves into the food processor. With the pine nuts, I have some olive oil heating up in a pan. And to test the heat, you can drop 1 or 2 pine nuts in to see if it's warm enough. You can tell when the pine nuts start to toast because they will turn a slightly darker shade of brown. Finally, once everything has been prepared, you can add them all in a medium saucepan over medium heat for about 1 minute. Once it's done cooking, take it off the heat and serve it in a bowl with your preferred amount of shredded Parmesan cheese and toasted pine nuts. And enjoy!